This is Greg Salyer. Welcome to The Individual, Salvation, and the Afterlife. While individuals have always existed, of course, the concept of the individual has not. What we take for granted in our time, the belief that we are unique and follow our own path in the world, was not at all apparent to individuals who saw themselves primarily as part of a clan, tribe, or religion. Membership in the community emphasized the community rather than the individual, and often there was not even a choice as to where you belonged. The environment of your birth, your geographic location, and your parents' affiliations made you who you were, and you were like everyone else in your group, except for minor and relatively meaningless differences. In Eastern religions, individuality is seen as a harmful illusion that prevents you from seeing the one reality. So it may be a surprise to learn that individuality has not always played a large role in world religions. Now, however, it is a prominent feature and often goes by the name of salvation. Even with our identity woven into the group identity, we must live our lives on our own. The very notion of communitas, that is the result of ritual, implies a state before communitas, that is outside of a community, and being outside of a religious community is to be outside of the sacred. Individuals need the salvation that comes through membership in a community, but that often requires that the individuals prove themselves worthy before they are inducted into a community of the saved. The prelude to many such rites of passage is a quest, that is, an individual journey that affords particular wisdom that one brings to the community. The quest takes the form of a challenge to overcome obstacles and ultimately oneself in order to achieve the wisdom afforded by the experience. The wisdom is shared by everyone who has undergone the quest, but the quest itself is unique to the individual, just as there can be many paths to the same summit. The community, then, consists of those who have completed the quest and who, therefore, have wisdom. Since the quest is a highly ritualized and community-based experience, the growth and institutionalization of some religions required that the notion of the quest be expanded to include the everyday or the mundane. In this iteration of the religious life of the individual, the quest consists of ethical choices made throughout one's life. Removing the more dramatic elements of the quest then creates another powerful religious metaphor, that of the way. Here the journey is life itself, and individual decisions move one closer to or away from the unseen order. Christians identify with Jesus as the way, since he called himself that, and his life serves as an exemplar for his followers. In Chinese, the word Tao means roughly way, and one of the great sacred texts of Chinese religion, the Tao Te Ching, means roughly the classic of the way and its power or virtue. For many adherents, religion is the way or the path to salvation, and it consists of both ethical and religious actions or inactions. Often, after death, a kind of reckoning takes place where one's good deeds are balanced against the bad ones. Another aspect of individual religious experience is our own existential struggle to understand our place and destiny. We live with what is sometimes referred to as the curse of consciousness. Like other life forms, our time is limited, and we will certainly die. What appears to be different about humans is that we are aware of this fact of our existence. Furthermore, this awareness gives birth to ideals about our existence. Why do we have to die? What ought to be the case? What could be the case? These thoughts feed directly into the nature of our imagination of the afterlife. Namely, it represents what our consciousness creates for an ideal existence. What is not ideal, but real, or at least feels real, is another profound experience, that of suffering and evil. Religion steps in to fill the gap between what is and what ought to be, with scenarios of salvation and the afterlife. Often the bridge between the is and the ought is made of religious action or inaction in some Eastern religions. A failure to exercise appropriate action results in being put in a state below the ideal, also known as hell. Success in exercising appropriate human behavior results in occupying the ideal state, also known as heaven. As such, our notion of the afterlife represents our greatest hopes and worst fears, along with the distance we feel between what life is and what it ought to be. These theoretical notions are played out in very specific and dramatic visions of the afterlife, and it was Zoroastrianism in particular that gave us notions of heavens and hells that were adopted and or adapted by Jews, Christians, and Muslims. The paradise of Zoroastrianism is attained the fourth day after death by crossing the bridge of the separator, which widens when the righteous approach it. The righteous soul crosses the bridge and is met by a beautiful maiden, who is the physical and feminine embodiment of all his good works on earth. He is then escorted into the house of song to await the last day. On this day, everyone will be purified and live in a new world, absent of evil and full of youthful rejoicing. For the less than righteous, the bridge of the separator turns on its side and becomes like a razor. The ancient god Mithra is there with a scale to balance the good and evil deeds done during one's lifetime. And if evil deeds prevail, then the soul is tormented by an old hag before it falls off the bridge into hell. The torments of the evil go well beyond Dante's imagination and focus on punishment directly related to the evil deeds. Zoroastrian hell may be the most horrific of all, and a text called The Vision of Arda Viraf describes it in all its gory glory. Fortunately, everyone eventually leaves Zoroastrian hell. They are purified and join the righteous in the reign of the god Ahura Mazda.